This is the True Detective Podcast by BleedTV, covering Season 3. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And this is Episode 6, called, what is this, Hunters in the Dark? Or something?
Hunters in the Dark.
Hunters Dark. Did y'all, I mean, I didn't catch the reference from the name. Did y'all mean the show?
Not really. Not too much of this episode was at night or anything.
Well, think about this. I mean, say your cops are your two hunters, and they're in the dark about what's really going on. I mean, we to say it's just something that simple.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Because,
with the
you
uncle,
know,
when we're sitting down and everything.
Dan comes in, y'all are way off, and you're in the dark. I mean,
Y'all
I guess you can make that
looking for the right way.
correlation, you know, if you want to go that route.
Well, I mean, we did see Hayes and we did see Tom hunting at night.
You can say
True.
that.
Oh, Tom is hunting
can
at
say
night
that.
by the end of the...
I mean, Hayes goes back to the old Purcell house. I mean, at night.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Okay.
It's possible. Whatever.
Well, what did y'all think about the episode overall?
I'd definitely massive come down from last week, which was a masterpiece almost. But it's excellent still. It's just a lot more filler in this episode, a lot more slower paced.
To me, this was just basically a data boy to us and just about everybody else saying, all right, your theories are correct. Here's the breadcrumbs to show you more about how it's confirmed. You know, and that's what I felt like about the episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the writing, some of the one-liners, the quick whips, the stare downs.
Yeah, I mean, just the
by
facial
Stephen
expression.
Dorff, you know, I mean, just that right there. Just give me an hour of that. I'm satisfied. I mean, it was.
I mean, he held a stink face for a solid 5 minutes this entire interrogation. And I was for it the entire way through.
I mean, when you're nervous in your chair as the viewer,
Yeah.
I think you're doing well. I mean,
We give a slight award to the veins in Tom's forehead. Incredible work.
I mean,
Incredible work. Way to be there. I mean,
how do you work those things out? Like, you just
Jesus.
sitting on the pot a lot, or...
But yeah, I mean, like I know you, like you said, it's a come down off last week. But I mean, we all knew that you couldn't just, you know, the reason last week was so epic is because they, you know, what they brought to you at the end and the whole 9 yards. I mean, just you can't just continue that scene over, and you know what I mean, like that.
but no,
I think-
last week was epic in so many different
Right.
versions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we did have the big action sequence.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the
the
final
pacing.
sequence on the back porch and stuff like that,
Yeah, I mean, it's just a master.
just as awesome, just in a different way.
Right.
Not action packed. It's just
Right.
awesome to hear.
There's
and
no
watch.
doubt. Just diving into the episode, you know, I know people don't want to wait. By the way, we want to say thank y'all. Our last episode just blew it out for us.
Record numbers
we've ever had. We broke into the top 50. We're in the top 2 podcasts for True Detective, and thank y'all. I mean, wow.
And the feedback. I mean, we got a lot of reviews.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we can't thank y'all enough for all the kind words that you've been giving us.
Really, really appreciate it, guys. Please keep that up. Really appreciate it. But like I said, let's dive into the episode. What do y'all think was the most significant part of the episode this time? You know, to me, I'm throwing out there that basically it's confirmed that Hoyt is, you know, is definitely behind this. The reveal.
Hoyt, and I mean a little bit of combination with Lucy. It looks like Jake had it right, that she had something to do with it a little bit, and looks like she kind of sold her kids.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling like. Well, like we've always said, we felt like Hoyt was in the middle of all this.
Mm-hmm.
We still hadn't. We don't have confirmation or not whether or not we think the theory of the daughter, Julie, maybe Hoyt's daughter. You know, we
Yeah.
kind of went that far. But we do see that they gave us some things this episode, and I thought was very key was when they visited that. What would y'all call that? Where the nuns were taking care of runaways? You know, it's an orphanage house or. You know,
Whatever.
sanctuary for runaway,
Yeah.
whatever. You know, the key thing that just keeps sticking out in my mind in the episode was the girl goes, you want something to write about, you got to write about what happens to girls here, as she's discussing what, you know, that Julie, or Mary July, or Mary June, whatever you want to call it, was there 5-6 months ago, and talked about being in her pink palace. And
But did she say write a book about what happens to girls here?
yes.
Yeah,
Or did she say there?
No, she said here.
She said
She said
here.
it.
Referring to what's going on at the house with the nuns and everything.
Okay.
And then I think we were talking a little bit, discussing before the pod, about the gardener. How it just immediately cut
Yeah,
off
like
over
they
to
made
him.
a point for her to look out that window, and you see that truck, and I think the name of the company was Ardon Landscaping.
Ardent?
Ardent,
something like that. And
do we think that has anything to do with it? Because she didn't look scared when she was looking out, but I mean, it gives that pan over.
It's more of like a knowing look.
Yeah.
And like we always say with the show, they never show you anything for no reason.
That's true.
It's
Absolutely.
literally focused on.
And I mean, we get a solid 10 seconds of him like unloading everything. Like
not only that, when she makes the comment, you want something to write about these girls here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same time that she looks out the window and sees this truck and this guy coming in. So I mean, it's not as like slap you in the face, but it's obvious that's a distinction. And so that goes back to sex slaves, or it's about girls. They make a point. It's about girls, what happens here, and so on. So I think we're going to get more development with that. So that's something to keep your eye on.
Mm-hmm. And bravo HBO for like when they put this in the little sneak peek and everything. We thought this was going to be Julie the entire way through, and then even when she shows her the picture of young Julie, and then we go back in, I was like, "This is it! Like I'm pumped. We found Julie." No, not at all. It's a nice little twist, I thought.
No, I did like that they started the episode off kind of strong with them interrogating Tom.
Did we like how they were pressuring Tom and trying to pin this on him the entire way?
I think they had to make this show, because if they don't do it, they're going to call in the other two guys.
They don't have to eat him alive.
Who will tear him up.
And I think it's a way of Roland showing that he still has care and concern for Tom, but still going there with that
man,
I'm going to kill you, motherfucker face, is just much about unreal. But again, like you said, the veins in the forehead, whatever, this guy
he's broken.
Is unbelievable, man. This Tom character, it is just unbelievable what he conveys at this scene. And I even felt like, I'm not real sure, this, that, or so on, which I don't believe for a second, as the guy who's just observing that he has anything to do with it. But that they make it very convincing the way they put this together. And so I really appreciated that part. But, I mean,
just that entire scene. The acting in this is phenomenal. And then the very end, when they're back in the on the other side of the two-way mirror and they're looking back over, Hayes is looking at Tom, and then you see old Hayes in the reflection of it.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like their transitions into different time periods.
In this episode were phenomenal.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I mean, they always have.
I mean, they really have, but like I felt like
No, this one was like a really cool, like, CG moment they threw in. It was awesome. Which we don't get a lot of that. You know what I mean?
No. They talk about the phone call. They talk about the truck stop. They talk about, they have a little spat where, you want me to take you home. They don't. I mean, get out of the car. You're a prick. I mean, a lot of dialogue stuff that doesn't really clear much anything up. But one of the things here is they decided to go and talk to Tom's bosses, and out of nowhere, we get basically the conclusion that Tom may be gay, visiting a queer bar. They go and check his place out. He has a pamphlet for a church location that helps cure being homosexual.
Yeah.
Things like that. This was completely unexpected to me. Like, I didn't understand where the significance or relevance for this comes.
I don't know yet. But if they're gonna do, or if they're gonna break into some of this like fundamentalist Christian stuff, you know what I mean, which could possibly be involved with the girls and stuff like that, kind
of like the sex ring and everything.
Yeah, could be in there. I mean, just oddly today, did you see the massive investigation that came down about the Southern Baptist Church? Like all that 700 counts.
What?
Of sexual abuse that's come down, involving like 360, people in the church and stuff like that. I mean, it's
holy cow,
insane.
Wow.
And and then this what do they call it? Conversion therapy.
Mm-hmm.
With that what's her name? Juno or whatever.
Ellen Page just went on Colbert, and had this massive thing, and then she threw Chris Pratt under the bus. I don't know if y'all have seen that. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Okay, she threw Chris Pratt on the bus because his church that he belongs to believes in conversion therapy. I mean, it's like a lot of these things are just all of a sudden hitting right at the right time as far as what's going on in
the real world and
right
everything.
now,
Yeah.
So I can see that it comes down to some of that. You know what I mean? I mean, we keep going back to Will's church. You know, he's posed that way and everything. I mean, I feel like it's going to have a tie-in of some kind.
I mean, to me, it was just be able to paint Tom as the bad guy for a little bit. You know, this was something, give us a little meat on the bone.
It's just like we said a minute ago. Nothing is for no reason. And so I'm leaning more your way, Jake, of that's a way of tying it into something bigger than it is, just for the viewer to show you more depth of everything that happens in the show. I
mean, couldn't you easily see, like, you know, I've been pushing this Hoyt conspiracy stuff this whole time, but it's like maybe the wife, you know, is the grandma, and she goes to that church and knows Will and them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And has seen the picture a bunch of times, whatever the case may be. You know, maybe she is like a sweet old lady. We don't know. We've not met them yet. You know what I mean? We don't know what they look like or how old they are or anything.
Yeah, we have no idea what the Hoyts look like or anything.
So it's possible that since Will's death was an accident, is what I'm assuming, that she would do something nice with the body. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to balance all these, you know.
Like with,
it doesn't seem like nefarious. You understand what I'm saying?
I do to an extent, but with there only being a pink room and us seeing that by the end of the episode.
Behind a massive safe door.
It's not like we have a blue room or anything like they ever wanted Will. And so that makes it look a little bit more nefarious.
No, I totally believe that's why Will and Julie were separated at the end. It's because Will was not in the deal. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but him dying makes me think that it wasn't necessarily an accident anymore. Just because, like, there's nothing indicating that the Hoyts wanted anything to do with him.
No. I think the Hoyts thought they were going to get away smoothly, clean with Lucy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, not with Lucy, but with Julie. And Will caught him, or caught up to him.
Yeah.
Before they could get her out.
But then, like, I mean, then it's just murder. Like, I mean, I don't think it ended up being accidental by the end of it.
You also got to imagine that phone call. Do you think the phone call was staged? Because she makes it sound like she has no idea what happened to Will.
She was too young.
Yeah, she was too young.
She thought Will was being laid down to sleep.
Right. Okay.
And then, like, when you've just been kept in this pink room with no outside world contact or anything.
I mean, remember she says it. She says,
right, I know. I'm just saying.
He was laid to rest. Mm-hmm. He was like, he laid down to rest for a while. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She's looking for a brother, assuming he's still alive.
Right.
So, I mean, it's... And then the fact that she's saying over this phone call that the guy pretending to be my father.
Mm-hmm.
If Hoyt's involved and Hoyt is the actual father, then maybe he's telling her.
Yeah. But I mean, he might not even have to be. He'd just be like, I'm your dad. Like, you know? Like, but I mean, not even saying like I'm your biological dad or anything. It's just like I'm your dad without even being it.
What I'm saying is, you know, and where I've been talking about Lucy selling the kids and stuff like that. She's not really selling the kids.
Just selling Lucy.
Just selling Julie.
Julie, yeah.
Will is collateral damage because Lucy wants out.
Yeah.
She wants away. She wants a new start over, a new life. You know, the whole deal. So, you know, I don't. Like I said, what I'm getting at is, even though Lucy's made some horrible mistake that ended up getting Will killed, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it was nefarious intent.
Right.
I mean, I can see that. And like, I mean, it just ended up being a consequence of the actions. Will being there and everything catching up. Okay.
Even Lucy has made a deal with the Hoyts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is like, all right, I'm going to take this payout. You can have my daughter. But does she know that maybe she's actually selling this little girl into a child sex ring?
Or a trafficking ring or something.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Because the thing like Zach brought up with, you know, the girl talking about what happens to little girls out here. I mean, that makes it seem like it's involved in a way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, the Hoyts clearly have connections in other countries to where you could easily move these kids around. So it's not that far of a stretch. And we are having more connections to season 1, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And so that was the big thing going on there.
And they talk about, you know, prostitution and stuff like that, and it's like a lot of times it's trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where these girls end up staying in this, lifestyle because they don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
It's like, they either they junkie out or, they're just slaves basically. You know what I mean? So I could easily see, and this girl's even talking about, a couple girls were tricking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, it just sounds like trafficking.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Ain't no doubt. Now, you mentioned the pink room, so of course my mind is the redheaded security guy that went missing, this or so on, which we've always said that we feel like that the redheaded security guy is the guy who ends up that Roland and Hayes kill eventually. I was kind of hoping that was going to happen this episode, that, be something, but it didn't. So we see him at the pink room, but we also have the scenes where they visit him at Hoyt Foods, which is just so ironic when they do that scene, and they realize things they talk about are his high paycheck. Again, there's a picture on the wall where you see Hayes turn and look at it, and you see the redheaded security guy, and there's another guy next to him with a big trophy, which I'm going to guess this is Mr. Hoyt.
I'm assuming this is Mr. Hoyt.
Again, this was there's a reason you show it. But the one thing about this whole deal, the comment that he makes, you have a good body.
Yes.
What is the purpose here? To me, I mean, like, this is the only episode that's ever talked about homosexuality, queer, this, that, or so on. Are we to believe that, do you think that maybe the reason, and I know this, like, I hate to say this, but, like, do you think that maybe that because Tom is potentially queer or there was issues with that or so on, that's the reason Lucy was targeted for Julie? Or because they don't because, like I said, maybe it does go back to the church where, you have a queer father with a wife that are having issues with children in a home that somebody would want to take them away. I mean, it's just things that people, you could think of. Is that a potential here?
Well, and then could it be too far of a stretch to say Hoyt is gay himself, and that's why this dude moved up?
I wouldn't go that route. I would be more to the depth of that the said security guard may be gay.
Well, no, I'm saying like Hoyt is along with the security guard, and that's why the security guard moved up so fast and so highly. It's because he's in a relationship with Hoyt.
All right.
I mean, I know it's going.
The pink room makes you feel like the guy has a fetish for kids, not that he's gay. That's okay. That's just
yeah.
I mean, that's just my thoughts. I don't think I personally don't think homosexual, anything like that, has anything other to do that maybe this episode throws it out there for the viewer, is that Tom is potentially queer, and this guy makes a comment you could say is potentially, an attraction.
It's a weird thing to put in this episode when it's painting a lot with it.
It's a very flattering, non-typical male comment. You know what I mean? Like, Cash, I'd never look at you and say, "Wow, your body." I'm just putting it out there.
I've worked long and hard.
What are you blind?
Yeah, come on.
Your hair maybe, but no, not your body. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so one thing I will say though, a lot of times when it comes to this stuff, you got to think more along the lines of child pornography as well. Mm-hmm. So even if you have a kink for kids, doesn't mean you actually have sex with kids.
No.
So a statement like, "You got a good body," could also mean your body would look good on camera.
Okay. I'll give you that.
So possibly our gardener, that shows up at the nun's place, whatever like that, plus all these comments and things could lead to the idea of like, oh, well, they have on hand males to perform sex acts on video.
True.
Filmed in the pink room.
Pornography.
Filmed in the pink room. You know what I'm saying? So it's like...
Oh, so you think the pink room could just possibly be like a sex chamber or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Think about this. Tom walks into that room, and you see him kind of cock his head, and he has to refocus his eyes, that he's looking at something going, "Is that you? Is that you, Julie?"
Yeah.
I think he's either watching a video or he sees pictures on a wall or this that are so on that are going to be pornographic in nature, like you're talking about over there, that is what's going to mess him up. And this is the end of Tom, by the way.
Yeah.
100%. Tom's going to have a self-inflicted gun wound when this is all over. So just so you know that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I mean,
but also remember this redheaded guy who was the cop who we all assume planted the backpack and all that stuff.
He did. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Then he gets this job as head of security.
The year fall right afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Hoyt.
it seems like it's head of security at the chicken.
Yes.
Yeah,
chicken
it's
factory.
at the Hoyt plant.
But he is head of security, or at least over the cameras, at night at the Hoyt home. So that's strange.
I mean, it could be a promotion, or he could just live there. And
the thing is, he's watching that camera, watching Tom break in as just nonchalant and
with that door open, so they had to be tipped that Tom was coming, because there's just no way you leave that door open.
There's no telling, or maybe they get to Dan right after Tom gets to him because he's sloppy. He even tells him,
exactly.
You came right back to the place you always come.
True. Plus, Dan knows where the money's coming from. Thus, he's trying to sell it for $7,000. So Redhead could know this, and this is all in preparation because the case has got hot again.
Exactly. They may have been staking out Dan this whole time. Find out whether or not Dan talks.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's jumpy and everything else.
He's super twitchy about the stuff. So now we got to take care of Dan because he's too talky. Now we got to get Tom because he's about to stumble across some stuff we don't want him to see.
Yeah.
So,
why let Tom get all the way into the house? Because, you can tell the guy's cool as a cucumber watching the videotape that he's breaking in and this, that, or
Well, I
so
mean, you
on.
know where he's going to end up going, so...
The safe door is open enough for him to get in. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like a trap.
Yeah,
like Cash
I think it's a trap because you can conceal the body. Not going to hear a gunshot down there, obviously. And then you don't have to worry about anything. So it's a lot better to take care of it down there, let him get inside the house, instead of trying to do something in the yard.
Plus, there's probably not a camera there either.
no, there's probably cameras.
No,
but
I would assume there's plenty of
I'm
cameras.
talking about like a security camera that's being recorded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They control the security
Here's the other
cameras.
thing, too. You saw them drive by, and this Hoyt place has got security at the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like one of those places that hold eyes wide shut parties. And
is this guy in the mafia or is this a cartel entrance? I mean,
it kind of reminds me of
the guy who
Ozarks.
owns Hoyt Foods.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, this is like Tyson Chickens, essentially. And so they've got money on top of money.
But also, information is power. So if you are in bed with all these powerful people and or even have on video them and their kinks with kids or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You have loads of power.
Oh, yeah.
As far as blackmail
That just goes back to season 2, where they,
your
bigwigs you have to own them. That's how you get anything done.
You have to have something on them. We've seen that in movies and TV before. Where they
yeah.
literally stage something, for the person.
Yeah.
I mean, Ozark did a great job of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, I easily see somebody like this having high security, be protective because people are going to want to come and get, whatever it is that you have on them,
Oh, yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
There's no doubt there. No doubt. All right. So I mentioned Dan a second ago. All right. We can conclude with a Dan that basically Dan has his little nugget of information, which he does give to Tom, so the viewer gets that, and so on.
Great actor,
I'm
though.
right there with you, by the way. Dan doesn't make it. That's the last time we really see Dan, or we're going to see his death scene.
I don't even think we see his death scene.
I don't think we see this thing.
I think we've seen the last of Dan.
You don't think they'll close it up?
No,
There's no
I
point.
think it's going to be like a day and a half.
Yeah.
Remember
They
he
go
says,
back to meet him.
He says, I'll call you,
No phone call.
day after tomorrow. They're not going to hear from him anymore.
I think they go back to Waffle Hut just to see if he's there. And we just never see Dan again.
Yep.
But I just want to say, great job by that actor with all the twitches and everything. Man sold it. They've picked everybody to a T.
I'll be curious because the director keeps talking about it. She talks about the body count, and she includes Tom in the body count.
Right. This is new. This is the first time that you find out that Tom dies.
So Tom dies in the 90s timeline.
Yes.
Okay.
Right after he visits the pink room.
Where do we think they find Tom's body? But we're all assuming a suicide.
Probably
I'm going to say 100%. I think they're going to make it look like a suicide.
Oh, I agree.
He's
Probably
on alcohol
in his house or something. Maybe back at the original house.
I could totally see him being in the car. Just wherever he drove, they put him back in the car, and he commits suicide.
Well, I mean, you've got to pull it away from the Hoyt residence and everything.
Still,
maybe Devil's Den. His car gets parked down there.
I mean, that'd be cool. Yeah,
give us a reason to go back.
Or now that they brought it up, maybe put him in a gay bar bathroom, or you know what I'm saying,
right?
A guy dealing with his demons. You know what I mean? But also, they think he's basically being pinned for something right now.
Do we think this is going to be out there? Just kind of popped in my head. Car crash with Hayes, like he just kind of gets pinned for it.
Okay, so you mentioned car crash. If you remember Old Man Hayes, when he has Roland in there, the camera pans over to the book that's open. Mm-hmm. And we paused that page, because we all watched it like that, and we read through that stuff, and it talks about a car accident. Basically, I felt like the car was upside down or something, and they had to find something in where the glass meets the screen of the windshield.
Screen still intact. Surprised at how pristine it still is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No idea.
Right.
It's highlighted and it's blocked off in a couple spots, but
the only reason I'm thinking this is because
I mean, like you brought that car accident part up.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because this could be maybe Hayes ends up killing Tom, and this is why they have that riff in their relationship, and Roland's just never able to forgive him. Because we just have no clue of what that could be. And that is a big tension in this episode. Is Roland thinking that Tom has nothing to do with it, and Hayes like, let's not clear him just yet.
I really feel like in the end, Roland's going to side with the political side of the things, and this case is done against Hayes' wishes. You're going to maintain his lifestyle and being lieutenant because you're not going to piss off the AG, and Hayes just does it again. It could be.
I don't think. If I'm just guessing, I don't think that's correct, Cash.
This is a stretch. So
it's a stretch, but what I'm saying is, I more agree with the fact that Hayes does something to Roland to piss him off. Right. Not just that Hayes doesn't agree with Roland's decision.
Yeah, I see this being more than just work.
Because that's another thing they've not been straightforward with is why Roland is mad at Hayes.
No, and this is the first time that we're kind of seeing part of that in the relationship.
They're not being coy with the fact that they killed somebody. Mm-hmm. They're not being coy with the fact that Hayes quit and just left. You know what I mean? Gave up is what he's kind of telling them,
right?
And kind of gave up his badge, kind of. So it's like I don't feel like that's what's made him mad. I agree with you, Cash, that there may be a moment of something he does that actually pisses Roland off.
And I think we're going to probably find it in the next episode.
Well, I think
we've only got two more.
At some point here.
Could it be what they showed you this episode of that he's pissed off because he's trying to take him home, and he's like, hey, you prom queen, I hurt your feelings. I ain't worried about my time clock. Da, da, da. Do you think
not long enough for a grudge like that?
How about this? Well, what do you think it has something to do with going back to that book again? That maybe Amelia dies in that car accident along with a daughter. That's a theory, by the way. I'm throwing out there, and that if maybe he wasn't on the job or something like that wouldn't have happened. That could be a reason that there's angry, resentment, this, that, or so on. I don't know. The bottom line is I keep going back to that book because we have yet to see the old daughter. And yes, I get maybe she's away or this, that, or so on. But I think there's a reason. I want to feel like there's a car accident or something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense because the book wouldn't have. It keeps talking about the car accident, but I don't think it's about Amelia herself because Amelia wouldn't be in the book.
Yeah, she wouldn't be writing
it, and she's finishing the book,
right? And it's about
and is this one the sequel,
murder, or whatever?
Is this the sequel or is this the original?
That's true. I don't know if I don't think she ever finished the second book.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling like. What I'm saying is that going back to y'all's things about car crashes or so on, I wonder sometimes what happened that could make them mad, for him to quit because he wasn't there, the daughter scenario, I don't know. But let's dive into the old man Hayes at this point. We're having this great dialogue in the whole 9 yards, and then he comes back in the room like he's completely oblivious.
Man, well, you see it in his eyes, too. Like, he flickers back over to Wes, and he's like, what are you doing here? Wes like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, like they started over.
Yeah, like he completely forgot that he invited Wes over, and they had been sitting there drinking, and I was like, wow.
And then it goes into the, hey, is there a black sedan out there? Which they do not show you.
Brilliant.
That if what's actually out there, they just has him look out the blind.
Because as we've been saying, like whatever they see, we see. But now Wes could be lying to Hayes, and I wouldn't feel like that's too shoddy of a character.
What if Roland West is also on the take for Hoyt?
No, I just don't.
I'm just putting it out there that he's living in a cabin out there on his own, doing his own thing, got away from everything, and so on, and he's living on the dime, and maybe that's part of it.
I just don't
any chance of it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I like it.
Hey, no start on a turn here, okay?
No, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just
I don't even know about the car crash thing. The fact that it's written from Amelia's point of view, or an interview of somebody that she's reading, but it almost seems like it's written from Amelia's point of view, right?
That's what it feels like.
So it seems like Amelia is in a car crash.
Yeah.
When I read that part in the book, that's what it feels like. But why would you write about yourself in a book
about these murders?
Because she
writing about her investigation?
She's writing about the investigation. So,
but and like it was written in like a really weird place.
It was. I mean, because
when you look over to the next page,
yeah, it jumps over into something that seems like it's more about the investigation, not what that was. It's. I'm telling you, it was very unique. And it was, like you said, had that red block on the side. Part of it was highlighted. I don't know. Like I said, there's nothing in it. It's nothing for no reason. Everything has a reason. But a car crash, it does seem like there's a car crash is significant to something that's about to happen on camera. And, it could, like you said, Amelia. Because we still don't know what happened to Amelia. We know she dies, but we don't know from what.
I have no clue.
But she would. I don't see she write. Is there a chance that she didn't finish the book, and that somebody else had to finish it because she died in it?
No.
I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just
because no one else is credited for it or anything.
Well, not only that, I can shoot that down because she's reading the book as a finished product and signing it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And
so that kills that right there.
Yeah.
And so, like, at that book reading and everything, though, we get an old character. I guess. Well, I mean, not old character, but 2 episodes ago, I forgot what his name was. But
Whitehead.
Yeah, Whitehead.
That wasn't him.
That was him.
That
didn't look like him to me.
Oh, that was definitely him.
I mean, you got to remember it's 10 years later too.
Okay.
That's him, and he does have a scar on his face.
You did mention, and then once we got the zoom in, boom, you do see the scar. But I mean, that was hard to see from a distance.
I'm sorry, I don't think it was him. I think it's a different person. Because the Whitehead guy that was in the trailer didn't have a scar on the face like that. He just had a dead eye. That guy had what was a scar on his face. And Amelia looked at him and realized immediately this is what her husband was talking about a black man that had a dead eye that would bought all these dolls. And that's why she said the word dolls at the end of the scene.
You know what?
This is a different guy.
I actually agree with you because it's a different eyeball.
Yeah, he's tall, he's slender.
No, all I'm saying is Whitehead's eye is his right eye. This guy was his left eye. I think I'm right.
This guy's it's definitely his left, but I don't know about.
That's not Whitehead.
Okay,
and I'm about 100% positive on that.
But you see immediate click dolls.
It's there, and of all places, you know what I mean. Now let's talk about this. His reaction.
He's upset about the book.
Do you know if they're alive? Do you know if they're dead? You don't know. You're making money off their pain.
Yeah.
And everything else. So this is a guy who cared for those kids. This is a guy who was a driver for a car for somebody who was meeting those kids that cared for them.
I'm telling you, this is the guy that's been playing D&D with Will in the Woods.
I agree with that.
The driver of the car for Miss Hoyt, who she was playing with Lucy, he was playing with Will.
And the guy who has the physical prowess to carry a child into a caved area or that cliffside, whatever you want to say it, and place him there to help them. You follow what I'm saying? Because no child, this is the guy who was there. He was the one who put Will where he was, and so on. He's the one asking if she's alive, and so on. The whole 9 yards.
I mean, you might be right because there is someone credited named Junus in this episode who was played by that actor, so it's not necessarily Whitehead.
Bingo. So,
but I'm just saying.
Yeah. So this is your driver. Now the mystery is who's the woman that he carries around. That is helping. Who's playing with the girl or doing whatever, playing D&D, whatever the situation is.
But would he be worried about Julia in this instance? I mean, maybe because I guess he played with the kids and everything. But if he knew what was going on with these kids, or do we think like he's just?
You don't know.
I would say it's more of a guilty conscience about what happened to Will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And not only that, just because this person was out there playing with those kids, this or so on, doesn't necessarily mean that that's who took them.
I mean, it's hard for me to believe that whoever's playing with them didn't take them.
I would agree with you 100%, but like I said, I think this whole thing is about misdirection, unveil.
I mean, that means there's a lot of people in contact with these kids.
Right. I mean, and then this episode also shows you the Hollywood decoration lady.
How close she was with Lucy.
I mean, like...
She's sitting right there. I mean, she's best friends.
Not only there, but she also goes outside, and they make a point to show her run up and go, oh, like this, and walk away with the reporter. She is there to keep tabs on Lucy. That's concrete.
Hey, you ain't telling me nothing, man.
Yeah.
Who's been screaming Halloween lady this whole time?
I mean that's definitely been you.
So, like I'm telling you, everything's happening for a reason, and I'm just saying, I personally don't feel like that the guy with the dead eye and whoever he's with is out there. Yes, I do think they're affiliated with why the girl has become missing,
mm-hmm.
but there is the chance that it's not. That, like Jake said, he's just the guy who was playing D&D. He's the one who gives the dolls to the kids. He's the one who actually cares for them. Whatever. He knows Lucy from the line and realizes how terrible she is, and so he's trying to do something for these kids when he can't have a child because of his look, appearance, whatever you want to say.
Well, he might not know Julie from the lines. Or Lucy from the lines.
It's possible.
Because remember, it's a different character now.
Right, but you don't know. He could be driving Miss Hoyt or somebody.
I'm just saying, like, we don't know if he knows Lucy from the lines.
If we're going to say this is connected to this person who took Julie, then you have to imagine he's connected to Hoyt in some way.
And remember, they're looking into accidents that happened at Hoyt and people with backgrounds.
Oh, no. Like, I get that and everything. Yeah. It was just like when he's saying that he might not have kidnapped him, then he might not know Lucy from the lines and everything.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying.
It's very possible. But, I don't know.
I think it's real easy to think of Hoyt in the fact that this guy is paid this salary to be the security director.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're using big trucks and like that. How do we see traffickers brought in? You know what I mean?
18-wheelers, easy thing.
18-wheelers, they throw them in the back. I mean, there's all kinds of...
Just fudge the numbers a little bit, especially in the 80s and 90s.
Like you said, we've already talked about the political corruption. The AG wants this gone. Make sure this guy is stuck for it. This state police are all giving direction. It's obvious. It's the big fingers of power working to make sure it stays in one direction. And like Dan said, they're paying big money to make sure this doesn't, go a certain way. They're not going to let loose ends, and he's jumpy in the whole 9 yards. So I mean, like all that is there.
Mm-hmm.
Key, all over it. So I mean,
one of the big things we have the director. She's been talking with Hayes this entire time. Hayes just gets. Do we think he gets too stressed out, starts forgetting something, or he thinks she's too close, and that's why he cuts off the interview?
I think this might have actually been a moment where his head is hurting him really bad.
Okay, so you think he just health reasons?
I think when he was regurgitating memories about and talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
A significant one happened, and he had to stop. I think a significant memory happened. That's just the way I think.
We had possibly two, if this was a moment, but also the moment with Roland, where he totally forgets he's even in his office still.
Yeah.
I think there's some more deterioration happening to Hayes.
And it's definitely progressing at a faster rate than we initially thought.
Yeah, I think what happened with the director and what happened in the office was like just something else that's showing you and showing you. I mean, like I said, I think Hayes ends this
with a bullet to the brain.
Show with a bullet in his head.
I mean, we don't keep referencing this gun and showing it this often.
Yeah.
I mean, this gun's essentially a character now with as much screen time as it's getting.
And the fact that Roland sees the gun, I mean, I easily see a point where he removes the bullets from it.
That would be interesting.
In order to save Hayes from killing himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's that guy. You know, so I don't know.
Do we? All right, I'm going to throw this out here as one of my first, after this episode, what I feel like the episode could go towards. I know y'all have said it 100 times. The narrator doesn't lie. What you see is this, that, or so on. Could this story really be not about the mystery of the girl, this, that, or so on, but more about the death of an old man's mind? What this last episode is that you see Roland like he's basically entertaining him, but they already know all the answers and playing this, that, or so on. Da, da, da. Don't get me wrong. There's that one scene where he goes,
"Are you trying to say this is going to be like that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Shutter Island?"
Kind of, sort of. Well, like, bottom line is like, what if the end is that everything's been solved, but we're just going through his old mind for him to figure it out again? Just like you showed the scene of him talking to him, hey, what are we going to do? And then he walks back in like, hey, Roland, how you doing?
Well, and with the note passing, because...
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you feel, do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying, but I don't think that's the case, only because of last week's episode on the back porch, when he tells him Lucy wrote the ransom letter or whatever. And he goes, why would she do that? I mean, it was real. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was like real surprise.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
But there is a part
Well, I mean, there's
of
some of it for you because he brings up the note passing again in this episode, and Roland's like, yeah, we knew that.
But they did know that in the 90s.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's what's leading to his case a little bit. Yeah. Because it is like, yeah, I mean, we did know that, but he didn't say it. I mean, like, it's like, oh, okay.
Even if that's true, if you don't know that detail, it probably wouldn't change the overall outcome if what I'm saying is possible.
I mean, I think some of it is about the deterioration of Hayes' mind. I do, but
I think that's more for the reveal.
I think that's just a character, thing. I don't think it's necessarily. I think the mind stuff is going to play more into like what happened to Rebecca. Well, what happened to Amelia? We don't even know yet. You know, there's a few things. So. And to his utter demise.
Yeah, I mean, because like this episode confirmed that there was a pink room in a secure location with a dirty cop, head security guy for Hoyt Foods. Okay, that is a huge nugget to give you on episode 6 when we're expecting big reveals at the end. You follow what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's a huge nugget you get at the end was the correlation. And so on. So if that is a nugget they give you now, what are the nuggets they're going to give you as the holy crap at the end moment? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that what's left for us to go, whoa, no way, to have that feeling. You follow what I'm saying? And so, I mean, it's just like Sixth Sense. I mean, the bottom line is that we have this great story. He's investigating everything, and then guess what he finds out at the end of it? Ding, ding, ding! Spoiler alert! He was dead the whole time. You know what I mean? So, what if this whole thing is that we've known everything? We're entertaining this whole thing. We're unveiling the story through his mind and how it's broken up, and this and so on. And at the end, by the way, we've known this a long time, Dad. I've been trying to help you, and whatever.
I just don't see it.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. I hope you're both right. Yeah, because I don't want it to be that, but I am concerned it could be possible.
Oh, and another reason I say it is season 1. It didn't end up being some like massive surprise at the end. You remember?
No, it wasn't.
It just kind of all of a sudden they just unveil the bad guy. Mm-hmm. An unbelievable ending of him.
Yeah, at the end they finally got a few big clues that unveiled everything, and then they showed up somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
And we wouldn't
it's
be
the henchman that
gets caught in everything.
That's caught and killed. It's how it happens every time so far.
And here it's looking like we might actually get the big wig. But also, by the end of it in 2015. But also, we wouldn't be recording it as a TV show if this was all just to appease Hayes. They wouldn't go that far.
No, I truly think by the end of this, Hayes' son is the one who slaps the cuffs on whoever's behind this.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a
don't
plausible
see that,
ending.
But I don't know how he could. They're not even in the same jurisdiction anymore.
I don't see that at all. No, to me, it's just going to be the final telling of the story. And then, like y'all say, like, you know, if Hayes does recollect or whatever it is or so on, does he eat a bullet, does he do that, what happens? Like I said, they've shown us enough that there's something going on behind the scenes, even as Old Man Hayes. The black sedan, the not looking at the car, his mind coming on and off, you know, the director chair, all that is for a purpose. And so that's going to be a revelation. And so I don't know. You know, and this episode also said, you know, hey, she died of an OD. I made sure this and so on. We don't even know if Julie's going to be alive in the last part, because nobody's ever said that she's alive in 2015.
True.
No one has ever conveyed her status of 2015. We've always talked about her in the sense of 80s and 90s.
Like, it hasn't even been brought up.
Exactly. So, you know, if they're not saying her status, which now they have said that somebody says that, you know, she OD'd, make sure it looks like OD, whatever. Well, that just means, like, it goes back to the director. Oh, it's a staggering body count. That means Amelia's not there. That means every major character we've dealt with this is all dead and everything else. I mean, so who's left of the situation? The only reason it's being brought up right now is to clear an innocent man of being charged with the crime, and that was in 90. And we don't know. We don't have the conclusion of that either.
I mean, this is a pure cold case.
You know what I mean? So, I mean...
I have no idea.
Yeah,
when she talks about the body count, she never mentions Julie.
No. Well, I mean, she never mentions how many. She's just like, have you ever just sat back and thought the staggering numbers of bodies that are connected to this?
Yeah. Right. For all we know, we feel like he's killed one person. For all we know, these guys went out and killed a bunch once they figured it out.
Yeah.
For all you know, they find out Julie's dead, and the whole reason because this one sold them, this one knew about it, they were in on it, this, that, or so on, and bang, 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 they took care of business. You know.
I don't feel like that's what's going to happen.
No, but I mean, I don't think they went that vigilante or anything.
No,
but
I mean,
they're admitting to killing one dude, and now this episode made it seem almost more like
Woodard could be the one dude.
That the one dude might not be redheaded guy.
It's possible.
I mean, I hope it is. If they assume that this is the guy who offs Tom,
the reason we say him is because he went missing after the 1990 investigation.
True.
He's the only person we say is that he's disappeared and we have never found him again. And if you want two cops to never, you know, make sure a body's never found again or never an issue, there's the two suspects for you right there. You know, that's on the money.
Well, and he even says it. She brought up Harris again or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, she brings him up every single time.
Well, he said that to Roland.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
When they're old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he says...
On the back porch and everything.
No, we done.
No. This episode.
On this episode, too.
In the office, he says, she brought up Harris again. He says, you sure you know what you're doing and stuff like that? So, I'm leaning towards it's the redheaded guy.
Oh, yeah.
But,
which I'm also not even really sure what Roland could be scared of. It doesn't look like he's got many years left. So, I mean, it's like if you go to prison at this point for him,
yeah,
it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But and then we do get confirmation that his son is sleeping with this director.
Which we did suspect. That was a nice little find. You know, again, they show you the two glasses and this, there, so on. So it's kind of, you know.
And I mean, like, he was like, well, how'd you know? It was like, well, I mean.
I was a detective.
I am still your daddy. And I was a detective.
Yeah.
And then he advises him not to tell his wife.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, it makes sense.
Don't make her hurt to make you feel better.
It was like, are you leaving her? He's like, no, I'm staying with her. Then there's no point in telling her.
Okay, but I think this is a clue as well to Hayes' character.
Correct.
To something in the past that he protected
From Amelia
from.
So could this be he made a decision, didn't tell Roland something? Remember, we talked about that in an episode.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he's gone out of the force to him. He made a choice because something happened, and he made a personal choice.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. Now that we've gone this far, I feel like Amelia is going to discover something, fill Hayes in on it. They're going to make a decision, Probably to protect Julie, and possibly to protect Roland,
but not tell him. And then Roland thinks that he did something to screw him over.
Well,
then does he find out what he did? And then that's what it becomes the end of the show?
Because, there would be something...
Maybe he forgets that the decision he made.
But Roland would know what that decision was. And because,
I'm just saying
if he just hides it and it has nothing to do with the case,
I'm liking that more and more.
I'm thinking Amelia... We've been on Amelia so hard, but it looks like Amelia really is just a bloodhound.
Yeah.
Okay? So... if Amelia discovers what happened and what's really going on, or a really big puzzle piece and fills Hayes in on it, it's like, if it is power people, Roland has moved up the chain, you know what I'm saying? And
he's lieutenant.
To protect him and his job, possibly, and, whatever. Hayes quits. We know that. He just gives up, you know what I'm saying?
It could be a situation where Hoyt starts taking out people, and Hayes knows if he continues down the path he's going, someone he loves is going to get hurt, or somebody's already gotten hurt, and so he quits to...
That doesn't seem like Hayes' character, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
What does he say in this episode? I became a coward
as soon as you were born.
As soon as you were born.
Yep.
And so why would you make that statement unless maybe he was being threatened or he saw the writing on the wall if he kept sniffing up the wrong tree because he knew what he was doing? That is very possible.
That's what I'm saying. In order to protect Roland from possible death
or his family
or career suicide, his own family or whatever like that, I could easily see where he leaves. And, I just had something in my mind. I just lost it, but there was something else too that made me think about it.
Come on, Hayes, pick it up.
I know. I don't know. It was something.
2015. Yes, Bubba. It's 2015.
I don't know.
It's on the tip of his tongue, people.
I can't think of what it is, but I'm just saying I could easily see that being the case.
Right.
Protecting your family. This may have something to do with Rebecca at some point because we still don't know what happened to her.
No, we've got to figure that out. And I think it's pretty safe to say she passed away.
Possibly. I just don't know.
We haven't.
Or maybe Rebecca's gone because he doesn't forgive her dad anymore because of something that happened. It could be another person who has another, axe to grind or whatever. So
I know what it was. I know what it was now. What if in order to protect Roland, they pin it on Tom? Roland is 100% totally wants to clear Tom.
Yeah.
That could be what pisses him off. That if Hayes drops and quits, like I said, I think he would do it for a good reason to protect his family and to protect Roland. But after they find Tom, guilty conscience, suicide.
But Roland stayed on the force.
Let them pin this on.
But Roland's still on the force and everything.
I think that's potential, but that would not be the reason I quit. I don't know. I could see where he could quit just because he's like, not to protect Roland, but just to say,
this job is forfeit.
This job is bullshit because you're making me swallow, like you did in 80. I told you that stuff was planted, that, he just got, there's no body.
No, he doesn't discover it's planted until the 90s.
Things like that and so on. No, in 80, remember the AG walks over and said, we need to heal. We need to get this taken care of. We need to make a decision now. He goes, that's 10 bodies. He goes, well, if you're going to put the kids on him, it's 12.
Yeah.
Get your story clear. But then in 90...
They want to pin it on Tom.
They decide to change it because that gets the lawsuit off the kids, clears them of the whole, the situation. Puts Tom as the bad guy after he commits suicide. And guess
all the evidence is lined up on Tom now.
Yeah, because the phone call set it up.
The phone call.
Yeah, the phone call.
Not only that, they were waiting on Tom to show up at the Hoyt house. They let him break in.
I'm just saying.
This paints a picture.
Oh, we were talking pre-pod that very well could be Tom gets paid.
But doesn't that seem to line up to what Hayes could do? But to drop it, you know what I'm saying?
But it doesn't protect. It's not to protect Roland because Roland stays on the force and everything.
I think it has to be something very drastic. There has to be a threat of life or whatever to something.
Yeah, Roland stays on the force, no problem.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. He's protecting
for all
him
you
from.
know, Amelia dies because she was writing and her sequel book was going to be too close to the truth. I mean, you know, I mean, like her sequel book could be the reason that she's dead, is that she's writing it as they're investigating it, and so he quits, so she doesn't have the avenue, or he quits because she dies,
she digs
and he
too
thinks
deep.
it's connected to it, and
No.
to protect the children.
Once again, I think it's a decision they both make to protect themselves.
Baby,
You stop writing that book, and I'll quit the force.
There's no way she quits writing that book, though. Like, from everything we've seen in her
No,
character.
first book, yes. Second book.
Yeah, but I
They
mean,
even brought it up this episode. The author wants it, or the publisher wants it real bad. You know what I'm saying? I think that might be the two sacrifices they both make for him to be home, like he keeps saying.
yeah,
I'll be home more.
but he's not.
I think that that's what it's going to end up being. She gives up on the second book.
I don't think there's any way she gives up writing.
God, but if you understand where this leads, and you start seeing bodies piling up, and they weren't what they're saying they are, then you have to just
you have to risk it.
distance yourself.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
when
and
you
everything,
have kids.
but like her character, how she's still pushing it and everything, it just doesn't seem like she's gonna ever stop writing this book. And so, like, I don't see that happening. I really don't.
Whatever.
I don't know. We can speculate all day.
It's where I'm leaning.
You speculate all day. There's no doubt. That's kind of the episode. I think the only thing we want to talk about really is there's a couple things in the preview for next week. So, guys, if you're a person who doesn't like to listen to previews or watch the previews, etc., so on, that is the end of basically the end of the pod when it comes to reviewing this show. We again really thank y'all for all your positive comments. If you want to chat with us or send us your thoughts or theories, and we put them on here, we will gladly do it. Always check us out at BleedTV Podcast at gmail.com. It's BleedTV Podcast on Twitter and on Facebook. Send us a message, a link, friend, whatever you want to call it, this or so on. We're excited to talk, and
please just give us a review on iTunes.
Yeah, if you give us a positive review on iTunes, it's just really helping us out. We broke into the top 50 overall on TV film on iTunes overall, which is awesome, which is some of the best we've ever done. So we really appreciate you guys. So we're going to dive into the previews now. So if that's not your thing, we appreciate you listening to us. All right, on the preview, we go back to, obviously, they're going to go back to the guy with the one eye, okay? You see Amelia basically communicating this, all right, so now we do have somebody we need to talk to that was never spoken to, and they're looking for him. And so that's in there, so obviously that's going to be part of the next episode. And then something out of nowhere, ghosts, okay, which basically look like two nuns in all white, dare I say, look like two KKK outfits, but
they do look like two.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like.
Just full-length Klan outfits, so they look like.
But you can see they have the beads with the cross and other things on and something like that. Which
I didn't see the beads in the cross.
The picture that had over there that had the jewels that come down from the chest all the way down to the waist like that. There was a little line there,
like rosary.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I would say it's a rosary.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't see that. I thought it just looked like big silly ghosts.
No, they definitely had like
okay,
something that made it look like they came from the church. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
And this is a new wrinkle. Thus, going back to what you just talked about earlier, is that creating a church being a huge element of this, and just in the beginning of everything. Remember, the church was a part of it where they thought the preacher, the way he was posed, them going back to it, nice ass, they finding the girl there. There could be 100 different ways how they connect it back to the church over and over and over again. That preview really is ramming it home that the church is definitely more involved, that maybe these two girls are identifying kids of impoverished or bad situation homes that are easy targets to be taken advantage
preyed
of.
upon. Yeah.
And
Right.
whose house are they passing by? Halloween ladies.
That's who they're even questioning.
Yep.
They're questioning Halloween lady. Do you remember who these
Ghosts
Do you
are.
remember these two ghosts coming by?
But it looks like that photo is like right outside of her house.
It's like, I think the Halloween literally took the photo.
Yeah.
So maybe Halloween lady is not nefarious, but she is involved. And just with knowledge.
I'm going to be disappointed if she's not. I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest with you. If she's not involved in some form,
Well, especially with
I'm gonna be
everything
mad.
that we've heard is being pointed at Lucy Like, I'm thinking Halloween Lady's got to have some kind of involvement.
Well, maybe not, if not involvement, information. Like maybe Lucy's told her.
I'm going with straight involvement.
She's going to have the key piece. I'm with Kat. I want involvement. Damn it. I
want
it. I've been saying this since the beginning. I want the involvement.
I'm not letting her off the hook. No, like I'm not saying that she just has information.
No, hood's still warm.
Yeah,
hood's still warm. I got you.
Yeah.
the flame got turned up an extra hair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the key things. And man, 2 episodes left. Man, it's killer.
Hey, he's burning his clothes. I mean, we're getting to the point where we're going to see him kill Harris.
Yeah,
it looks like.
And we're sticking with it. We're all in on Harris.
Yeah, Harris the goner, and so on.
You come here for correct opinions, and that's what we give you. But guys, go ahead. I mean, I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, please, it was just a great episode.
Send us the theories.
Yeah, please do.
Whatever you got.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've only got 2 episodes left.
And
let's see what y'all got, everybody.
Absolutely. And guys, don't forget, Walking Dead came on tonight as well. We are podcasting Walking Dead as well. If you want to catch it, I know there's a lot of Walking Dead podcasts out there, but
this is literally called The Walking Dead, so please check us out.
Yeah, check us out on that. It's probably
Mayans just kicked off in the UK.
That's right.
So everybody that's watching that.
So if you haven't watched Kurt Sutter's Mayans and you're watching it now, enjoy that.
Mayans MC, go ahead, check us out there. We'd love to have you.
And then good news, bittersweet news. Into the Badlands returns, which is one of our favorite shows, but it only returns for
8 more episodes.
Last 8 episodes. Damn you, AMC. Really enjoyed it. It was something different and unique, and so we're going to cover it as always because we believe in completing what we start, and so
we just re-released some really good interviews we did earlier in the season. So feel free to go check those out.
That comes out the 24th, and of course, Game of Thrones. In April, we'll be covering every episode on that as well. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to that once we have that pod up to be looking for it. But other than that, guys, I think we're going to call it a night. This was BleedTV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
We'll see y'all then.